just smoked that dude on the bicycle. Hey, buenos dias, ¿qué pasó, amigos? John's Moto Garage. Welcome back to the channel. This is oh, this is so slick. Oh, there we go. Today we're talking 10 pro tips for beginners. Not coming from me as a pro here, but these are actually submissions from the subscribers. So pro tips from the subscribers for beginners, man, to be a better beginner rider like me.
Yikes.
Oh, hold on a second. Oh. This is gonna be tough. Let's try this.
Dude, trying to do these lists out of memory, bro, when you have such a horrible memory like my own, this is tough stuff. I feel like I'm having to like study for a for school test here or something. This YouTube stuff is harder than it looks, you guys. Let's try this. You think that's gonna work?
Oh, this was my list here, you guys. This may not work out the way I was hoping it would, so hold on a second. There we go. I think we're still in business, you guys. There's my list. I'm just gonna slap it right there. Oh man. All right, you guys. John's Moto Garage. Like, subscribe if you dig the content. You can hit me on Instagram at John's Moto Garage, and you can also support the channel through Patreon. Huge shout out to the patrons. Oh, I'm like soaked in this sewer water. I think I pulled my hamstring because I did the splits on that one coming down. There we go. So these are going to be 10 tips, 10 pro tips for the beginner rider. So you go out there, you get your first motorcycle, you get your license, you get your gear, you start playing around in the mud and having fun, and you think you're good to go. Well, there's so much more that goes into it. So here are, again, some tips that were sent in from the viewers for beginner riders to make you a better and safer rider. The first tip is your shoelace. And you may be thinking, what about my shoelace? Well, this actually happened to me. Make sure your shoelace doesn't get caught in the shifter. Check this out. I've seen it before. See what I'm talking about there? So the best way to avoid that really is to have proper riding shoes. But if you don't, if you're like me, tuck your shoelace in like so and make sure it doesn't get caught in the shifter. This actually happened to me with my first ever moto. I pulled up to light, went to put my foot down, and my foot was stuck. My shoelace was stuck on the shifter. I almost dropped the bike. Last second I was able to yank it off and put my foot down. But just imagine the full weight of the bike and you just falling right like that. I've never fallen on this thing, so I don't know what it's like, but I can only imagine it's not going to be a lot of fun. All right, pro tip number 2. What is it? Oh yeah, own your space / give yourself enough room. So when you're out riding with other traffic and cars around you, what does that mean? Own your space. Basically give yourself plenty of room between you and the other cars, not just in front. Be paying attention behind you and to the sides as well. And just make sure you give yourself plenty of space, plenty of buffer. I don't know all the like the actual numbers, like how much space you're supposed to give yourself exactly, but give yourself space. Don't be tailgating the dude in front of you just because you think he's going too slow, or don't be driving like an idiot, you know what I mean? Give yourself plenty of space. All right, where are we at? Oh shoot, I lost my list. This video is not panning out so far, you guys. I remember the third one though. The third one This was a funny one, but I thought I'd add it anyway. Don't throw up in your full face helmet. I think that goes without saying, but yeah, obviously if you can't avoid it, try not to throw up in your full face helmet. You don't want to be aspirating, getting pneumonia, anything like that. So yeah, don't throw up in your full face helmet. This thing's already dry, man. Look at that, beautiful. Number 4, turn signals. That's a good one. So turn signals, the majority of bikes do not have self-canceling turn signals. That's actually one of the cool things. Harley is one of the few that does offer self-canceling turn signals, and everybody's seen it. You got that dude rolling down the road and he's got his turn signal just sitting there bleeping. You're like, dude, turn your signal off, bro. Turn it off. Do I even have a turn signal? Oh, there it is. Yeah, see that? So why is that important? One of the viewers told me they accidentally left their turn signal on, came around a corner, and because it was a corner and they were slowing down anyway, the oncoming traffic just assumed that the dude was turning with his turn signal, and a truck cut in front of him. I forget if it ended up being a real bad crash or not, but other people are looking at that. And if you have your turn signal left on, not only is it annoying, not only does it make you look like a newbie, but it can also cause confusion and potential accidents, just the fact that you forgot to turn that turn signal off. I've done it. I'm sure the majority of us out there have done it, but just pay special attention, close attention to that. You don't want to leave your turn signal on. And nowadays I rarely use it. I'm more doing my hand signals when it comes to turns anyway. All right, we're almost through this piece of paper. So oh, here's a good one. This was submitted by Bikes, Boats, and Bivouacs. When you're coming up to an intersection, you're obviously paying attention, you're slowing down, you're observing, you're making sure people aren't pulling out in front of you. But this is something I'd never had done before, but I'm told it works, and that's pay attention to the front wheels of the vehicles, because apparently you'll see those moving first. So you'll see them moving, you'll see them turning, you can get a good idea of what's going on if you're kind of keeping an eye out for the front wheel on the vehicles. All right, let's see if I can land this, because this is where things really went bad last time. I came up through here, I went like this. Oh, I just came in way too hot, and you can see I went skid, and then as soon as I hit this soft stuff here, this mud, whew, game over, bro. Game over. All right, another pro tip. This one would actually work well for me, and that one is ride with some buddies. Find a buddy, or a group of people who are experienced and know what they're doing, and ask a lot of questions. But you also got to be careful with this one, because just because somebody's been riding a long time doesn't necessarily mean they know what they're talking about, doesn't necessarily mean they have good habits, and doesn't mean they're going to be teaching you the correct way. Take me, for example. I've been riding for a good amount of time, but I by no means consider myself a pro or an expert when it comes to riding. I'm sure I have really bad habits, and a lot of the stuff I do, I would not recommend that others follow my footsteps. But when you're out riding with other people, it's safer to ride with other people. Typically, at least as a newbie, it's good to have that help, and ask a lot of questions, get some pro tips. But here's another thing I'll say: don't believe everything you hear on the internet, on these YouTube channels. And also, like I said, just be wary, be careful, do your research still. Make sure people aren't teaching you bad habits, such as this guy here. Man, this thing is cutting out all over the place. Oh, almost went down again. All right, that's gonna be the next tip is when you're riding in like loose gravel and dirt. And again, I don't claim to be a pro at this, but the front brake in loose gravel and dirt can be your worst enemy. And so in those situations, you really want to learn to use your rear brake, and this is one where you want to take some classes. But yeah, when you're in like loose gravel dirt like this, don't just be cranking on your front brake like you would typically. In fact, I almost always just use my rear brake, and again, I'm not claiming to be a pro at this. I'm sure my technique's wrong, but it saves me from washing out the front and getting into trouble. Look, here's rear brake only. front brake. See how quickly I'm going 4 miles per hour, and watch what happens on my front brake. Even at 4 miles per hour, I'm almost washing out just cranking my front brake. So yeah, you're safe to say use that rear brake in dirt like this. Yeah, even at super slow speeds, I'm almost cranking out or washing out. And speaking of dirt, another pro tip, and this one isn't doable for all of us, but if possible, learn to ride on the dirt first. I don't know how many people have told me that. And you watch some of the most skilled riders even on the street, and they either come from a dirt background, riding dirt bikes as kids or all that stuff, or they still continue to practice in the dirt. I had a feeling that might happen. I'm learning my half skids. Another pro tip, practice your maneuvers, your slow speed maneuvers. Practice them in controlled environments, in parking lots where there's not traffic. Slow speed maneuvers like U-turns and, you know, a sharp turn from a stop, all that kind of stuff. Throttle control, brake control. That gets a lot of people into trouble, and it's not necessarily going to be like major damage to the bike, but it will hurt your ego. You'll feel embarrassed if you drop that bike on a U-turn at an intersection or something like that. There we go, that's what I was trying to do. Practice hard braking. This one wasn't on the list by anybody, but practice hard braking again in a controlled environment. Get to know your moto, know how it's going to react when you come into a skid, all that kind of thing. All right, that's enough of this. Let's go check out some other spots. Oh, this bike, I need to adjust my clutch. Alright, you guys, I ran into some technical difficulties with my audio here at the end, so I apologize, but let's go ahead and wrap up the list. Ride and assume that every other vehicle out on the road is trying to kill you. And another way people put it is assume that you're invisible. Then do just assume they're going to hit you, they're going to kill you, they're going to try to take you off the road. And I think those were the main ones. Obviously, ride safe, ride with gear, practice, practice, practice. Have fun out there, you guys. And big shout out to all those who left comments. Awesome tips. Some of them I had thought of, others I had never heard before, but I think those are great. And I'm always learning and implementing new things, applying new things, trying them out, and I invite you guys to as well. Here's the aftermath. The aftermath. My beautiful Vans are totally destroyed. And when I said proper riding shoes, I meant to say proper riding footwear, i.e. boots, which I actually have some legit boots over here, but they just don't work with my skinny jeans, you know what I mean? Or with my skateboards. All right, John's Moto Garage, we'll hit you on the next one. Adios. Nos vemos. Like and subscribe if you dig it. You can hit me on Instagram at John's Moto Garage. Shout out to the patrons. You can support me through Patreon as well. We'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.